Hi everyone. Always start hi everyone. We just completed a beautiful holiday, the holiday of Purim, and we are going on the next, and this is the holiday of Pesach. And as we know, before the holiday of Pesach, we're coming to very special Shabbos coming up. As we know, called Shabbos Parshas HaChodesh. That's going to be in 2 weeks. To be starting to read about the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, the Paschal Lamb. That's the real preparation for Pesach. And prior of this Shabbos that we're starting to read about Pesach and the preparation for Pesach and the Paschal Lamb that they did in the Beit HaMikdash, in the temple, the Shabbos before this upcoming Shabbos, we are going to be reading the Parsha of the Para Aduma. And what's the Para Aduma, the red heifer, as we learn a lot about it? This is the mitzvah that before bringing the Paschal Lamb, before bringing the offering for Pesach, we have to become pure. And how do you become pure? With this Para Aduma that we are learning this week's Shabbos. And this is why this Shabbat is going to be called Shabbat Parshat Para, the Shabbos that we're reading about a Para Aduma. So let's learn one short, hopefully a beautiful lesson from this idea that we're going to be reading this Shabbat, Parashat Para Aduma. So we have a beautiful story in the Gemara about the Para Aduma. As we know, through the whole history, from Moshe Rabbeinu until after the Second Temple, some years after the Second Temple, this Para Aduma stopped. But for a long period, you're talking 850 years, plus 40, plus 420, plus some more years in between. It's a long time. They had the Para Aduma. Well, the Para Aduma was, as we know, the law. They would have to burn it, and with the ashes mixed with water, they would sprinkle on people that weren't impure, and they would become pure. And this had to be specifically from Para Aduma. It's got to be completely a red heifer, completely red, as we have all the laws about it written, and we're going to learn about it this Shabbat. And this is why we read it the Shabbat before next Shabbat of the Paschal Lamb, because we're going to get ready. Even though we do not have the red heifer, at least we'll learn about it. We're getting ready, purifying ourselves. So we know that we add 9 altogether. It says the 10th one, the 10th red heifer will be Mitzvah Shem, Mashiach will come. This is why we have all these stories that people saw the ad, a red heifer, and this is a sign for Mashiach, because we know that number 10 will be when Mashiach will come. So in the 9 red heifers, we have one story in the Talmud about a person. His name was Damma ben Nisina, another Jewish fellow, a Gentile. And the story is a long story, but the point of the story is that because his great honor to his father, he did the mitzvah of Kibud Avaim, honoring his parents. That this mitzvah is not only for Jews, it's also for non-Jews. He got a present from God. And what was the present of God? That by his domain was born a red heifer. And Am Yisrael at that time, the Sanhedrin, the leaders of the Jews, they were looking for one, and they found one by him. So when they came to purchase the red heifer by him, he gave him a line. He says, I know that I can charge you whatever I want for this red heifer because you need it. And as we know, they paid him, and he became a very wealthy person. That's a story in the Gemara. And the story in Gemara tells us that the reason why he was rewarded for that, because he was supposed to sell a stone to them, to the Jews, that was missing in the breastplate of the Kohen, and they couldn't sell it to them because the keys were under the pillow of his father, and he did not want to wake up his father, and he said, I'm going to lose the deal, but I do not want to wake up my father because of his honor. Hashem said, I will pay you for that. And what did he pay him? He'll make his money another way. And how did he make his money? By having the red heifer and selling it to the Jews at that time. So we see a beautiful story, and we see Hashem rewarded him. But there's a message that we can learn from this. And the message we can learn from this is with Chachamim, the great leaders of the Jews at that time. They're going to purchase the red heifer, the biggest, or one of the biggest mitzvah, one of the most important mitzvah, that this will make Jews pure for generations to come. And he wants enormous amount of money. They don't have that money. They have to accumulate all the money, all the wealth, whatever is in the temple, all money, treasures, they have to give him, because that's the only way to get that red heifer. And look what's going on. They could have a little bit finagled with him. You know, business is business. They could have found a way to cheap him out, at least to get a better deal. But the Chachamim did not do it. They hand kneaded, they paid. There's ways how to do things. They can tell them, no, we don't need it right now, we can wait for later, we can get another one, whatever, to get the price cheaper with them. But that's called, in the Gemara, mat'eh. You'll finagle a little bit. Is it prohibited? Is it not prohibited? In business they say it is not prohibited, yes prohibited. I'm not getting into it. But there's loopholes. But still the Chachamim said no loopholes. We'll pay for it. And pay whatever it takes. There's a beautiful message in that story. My little brain would think, when we're talking about such a big mitzvah of getting the red heifer, you know, we can finagle a little bit. Do a little transgression for getting such a big mitzvah. Because we have no choice. We need that big red heifer. We need that important mitzvah to be done. The Chachamim teach us that little mitzvah of treating nice the Gentile is as important to them as the biggest mitzvah, getting the red heifer. Don't think because you're involved in such a big mitzvah, that little mitzvah of treating this person nicely is not important. That's equal important. And this is why whatever he wants, they did not argue with him, because they have to treat him nice. Even though this could be a big price for getting the red heifer. Or they may not be able to get it because of that, because you want an enormous amount of money. It makes no difference. They're not going to push away some little mitzvah, even for the biggest mitzvah. That's a big lesson that we can learn from this. Sometimes we forget and we think, I'm involved in such big important mitzvah. But to get there, I can step on some people because I'm involved in the big mitzvah. What is any little thing come to this big mitzvah? The Chachamim teach us, no, it's not like that. It could be the biggest mitzvah, Parah Adumah. Still be careful with the most littlest mitzvah, whatever it is. Treat him, the Gentile, nice. Even though, again, you can find loopholes. No, we're not looking for loopholes. It's a mitzvah, it's important to treat him nice, as it's important to buy the Parah Adumah. And the lesson that we have to learn is very strong and very deep to us. Not always what you think is the greatest important thing. It pushes away something else. No, it does not. And I learned this lesson myself, Ma Rebbe. And this was in a certain country, I'm not getting into names. In that certain country was the opportunity of Shluchim of the Rebbe coming there large or making a big impact. But in that country there was one fellow, a nice fellow, a fine fellow, a rabbi. And the rabbi, if Chabad would send Shluchim there, he would feel a little bit hurt. God, I'm the rabbi here, I don't need help. And even though we can understand that the Shluchim of the Rebbe would turn the place around, for years and years and years, the Rebbe would not send any Shluchim there, just not to make that rabbi feel bad. We could always judge and say, what is this? It's so important to send all this great Shluchim. And it is important. There's so much mitzvahs involved with this. But the Rebbe's opinion is, but it's a little mitzvah respecting this fellow. And this respecting this fellow is important to me, as it's important to send the Shluchim in that country. Do not push away a little mitzvah that you think it's little for the greatest mitzvah. That's the lesson of the story of the Paraduma that we're learning. Have a good Shabbos, have a great Shabbos, and let's get the real Paraduma with Mashiach Tzidkenu, who become pure this Shabbos, and we should be able to go to Pesach pure and do the Paschal Lamed Beis Hamikdash with Mashiach Tzidkenu. Beautiful, beautiful, good Shabbos.